Guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, I'm Alexa MR2. So today is an interesting day. We have a couple of small modifications for the MR2, and I know you might be thinking, but isn't the clutch gone? But are you gonna engine swap it? Listen, I got a couple of mods for it. They're only small, tiny things. A little piece to go in the fuel cap to hold your fuel cap that we need to figure out, and an indicator stalk. Now those are both definitely necessities for if the car is running perfect.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be also using an endoscope to check the cylinder heads, well, as deep in as we can get. We are also going to be taking one of the forbidden kits. I got an endoscope and the forbidden compression tester for the petrol MR2 for Christmas. So what a better time to start the year than compression testing. So scary. The engine to see if it's any good, because if we're going to be doing a clutch job, if the engine's blown, of course engine swap. And it's just good to check where we're at and mark everything down, but God, this is scary. Alongside that, we'll just show you the process, talk about roughly where we should be compression wise and the gap between sort of the what's good and what's bad. Hopefully we're all in the good, and I think we should just crack on, shall we?
Yeah, let's just do it.
I'm not ready for this. Now, we really do need to take this label off and write forbidden kit on the middle, but we've only just got it. This is our petrol, if I can get it open, our petrol compression tester. Now it is petrol for a reason, because there's different compression levels between petrol and diesel cars and how you do it. And also rotary have a different way of measuring. This is a scary moment because personally, I've never had to use one of these. So being the first time, we'll see how this goes. And then also an endoscope to check inside. Essentially, if you don't know what an endoscope is, it is a little machine with a very, very tiny camera and light on the end, where we're able to go down into the head of the engine and look without having to take all of that apart and having to replace all the gaskets and seals. So essentially, we're not only checking compression, we're checking how healthy the engine looks. And considering it hasn't been running a while, and the way it's been running, I'm not too hopeful. So first we're going to start with one of the easier plugs to get out. I say that as we come through. And since last time we're looking less wet, however, this is a bit of a dodgy HT lead, which will get replaced if we keep the engine. And we're going to take a spark plug wrench and get that spark plug out. Now, different people will tell you different sequences for taking spark plugs off. Some will say to warm the engine up, some will say to keep it cold or anything like that. I generally have had no issues with it cold, but fingers crossed we can get it going. Now I'm just going to take the rest of it out by hand. We didn't need to heat the engine up. Again, people will attack you for either way you do it, cold or warm. In this case, the engine's been sat, so we're just going to do it cold. And it's looking, to be fair, just lean, which we know the car's running lean anyway. Oh, some bad discoloration to the top of the spark plug. But next, what we do, I believe, is we measure the thread pitches and we match the thread pitches, which I think is this one, to the spark plug. And this is going to go in instead of the spark plug, essentially on the end of this tube. So what we've got to do is we've just got to thread this in. Actually, to be fair, unless that's the right size, that might be the right size actually.
Do you not need an extender?
But I believe we thread them in anyway.
Yeah, you still need like an extender on it. And then just plug this end into...
But we have to make sure it's nice and tight.
Okay.
So we've got a seal, and then tend to do this first just on its own. But what we'll do is we'll just quickly check inside the health of the engine. Now, as you can see, welcome back to my channel. Or
hey
if
guys,
you're new,
it's Alexa MR2.
And if you're new,
hey.
But yeah, so essentially this is going to show us, as you can see on the camera, it's going to show us inside the engine. So let's take a little bit of a dive on the inside of our spark plug holes and see how they look.
That's so cool. Oh my god.
And we can see that there is quite bad wear on that piston. To be fair,
It's not awful.
the oil on the piston is quite concerning. The fact that there's oil sat in there, and you can see that there's a decent chunk of a build-up on there. To be fair, not as bad as I was expecting. To be honest, this is probably going to be the worst looking cylinder out of all of them, but it doesn't look like there's any sort of like major cracks or anything, so not a bad start so far, I don't think. So we definitely didn't forget to put the battery back in, which we can't turn over the engine without, so ow, let's get this in. This is the battery out of the Accord, actually. Well, we took some casualties, and that was in there just to balance the battery all out. That is sliding around like crazy in there. Hopefully that's on contacted enough and the battery has enough charge
Yeah.
to start the car.
Should be fine. Let's see.
Now we're going to thread this in, which that seems to be about right. I don't think you have to do it too tight. And then essentially we can now push this onto the head there, and then this is our pressure release for when we're done. So Lex is going to have to sit inside the car, crank the key round a couple of times until I say stop, and then this should give us an accurate reading in terms of where we're at compression wise.
Are we ready?
All right, ready? Stop. Okay, so we've got to about 175.
Okay.
So now what we're looking for is all of them to be around 175, if not less than an increment of, if you're really tight about it, 3. If it's over 5 difference, we're kind of done.
Cooked.
We're cooked. So the engine will have to come out. But so far, that's not that bad.
Okay, do you want me to write that figure down so we don't forget?
Yeah, so we're going to write the figures down and keep track as we go.
Spark plug 2.
That came out a lot easier than the other one.
I think 1 and 4 are always like the troubled spark plugs, I swear.
Yeah.
For me anyway, like 2 and 3 are okay, 1 and 4, no. They always have something wrong with them.
Oh, once again, we are covered in oil, which is always
fun. Yeah, that is a lot of oil actually. What's it looking like? Oh.
Anyway.
Okay. What's it looking like down there?
We're soon gonna find out.
Kinda oily, not gonna lie. Endoscope time. Honestly, I love this thing so much.
So now we're gonna go in again to the oily, wow, really oily.
Oh.
Wow, to be honest, we've got some goldiness on there, which is oil. This is looking a lot healthier than the first one though. Obviously the oil shouldn't be there. I think it's due to the HTs or the spark plugs or some sort of issue along those lines. But actually, to be fair, not bad. Better than number 1, I can tell you that for a fact.
Ready?
Right, let's do it again. Stop! I don't think I connected that lead properly. And with the lead hopefully corrected, now with the lead hopefully on correctly, let's go again.
Yep.
Stop! So again, about 175.
Ooh.
This is good compression so far. I'll need to check the best compression rates for these engines, but so far, because of the consistency, fingers crossed it carries on that way. So again, a lot of oil residue, if you can see there, but the pistons itself look pretty healthy. So we definitely need a top gasket.
Yeah.
We definitely need a valve cover gasket because there is excessive amounts leaking through
There's
to
oil on our endoscope,
spark
honey.
plugs. There's oil on there, there's oil on the spark plug, there's oil outside the spark plug. So we know we need to change that, but so far we're liking the way the tops of the pistons look. So now is my turn to crank while Lex is going to be there. So Lex, tell me when it hits 175 hopefully. Are you ready?
Stop.
So about 170, 175. I would count that if I did a couple more cranks it would go 175.
Yeah,
so again, really strong so far. Yeah, we definitely need to do that top gasket because...
Is that going to be a problem in the future though? The oil being in the spark plugs and being in there now? Or?
So the first time we crank over, it'll get rid of most of the oil as we go.
Okay.
And what it means is that there's excess oil being left in the chamber.
Yeah.
So with the car running lean and the way the exhaust is, it's essentially it's going to cause more carbon buildup over time. And also it will change the compression ever so slightly, so
right.
if that gets deviated enough then we could have an engine issue, but so far great, just scratched all my paint with that. But what we're going to do for now is just carry on ignoring that issue, but if we do have to do a clutch instead of an engine swap, we will probably have to do that alongside the oil pan gasket, which needs doing as well.
Great.
This has been a super useful tool. This last one that we just checked with the endoscope is very oily. So we had the first cylinder which had loads of carbon buildup, second, third, fine. This fourth one that we've checked is oily as anything, but for now we're gonna pop this kit away because we've finished with it. However, it's going to become very useful when we start to tear the engine down and to check where we're oil leaking from, because I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. So the last cylinder did take a little bit longer to reach, however all of them are within 3 of each other. Pretty consistent among the board, nothing crazily apart, so that means that this engine is still good to go. Besides a couple of gaskets that I'm going to have to buy, cheap job. What we're going to do, what I think we'll do, is we will chuck a mid-range clutch in this car. We will absolutely rail it this year and then do an engine swap. But for now, see if that's too good compression.
Yeah, we can't engine swap it yet.
That's not an
You may
excuse
as
to
well
engine
kill
swap.
the engine first and then engine swap.
So, the engine lives on, the compression seems fine, and in the next video, or one of the next videos, we would have got the pieces and parts to do the clutch. That's clutch, flywheel, pilot bearing. I'm gonna have to use the bread technique to get that pilot bearing out, and also having a look at some of the leaks, some of the tubes, some of the pipes. And we'll have to give that a good crack on a weekend that we have off.
Yeah.
Now on to more light-hearted, some modifications for the car while it's sat doing
Nothing.
Now the next mod is a small one, and what this is essentially on this version, this very squeaky door version of an MR2, when you open the gas tank like so, you have nowhere to put this little device here. Now I believe this part goes inside or on here in these 2 little ridges somehow, I'm not too sure, we'll have to figure it out, but it goes in here and essentially gives you a place that the gas cap can slot into for while you're filling up. So let's see if we can install this without any trouble. And also this looks like it'll need a clean at some point, but that's a later day's job. I've just had a test fit and it slots into here really nicely and then goes on this bolt. So I believe, thank you Lex, it should be a 10mm, which I was correct, who would have known on an MR2, to undo this and just pop it underneath. So we'll show you when we've done that. This feels like it's been very well 3D printed, because when I slot it in there, it is like dead perfect. and then also lining up this, it literally fits like a glove. So let's get the bolt back on. Hopefully I haven't dislodged or disaligned this too much, so we can still open and close the gas cap, or petrol cap if you're not American. I'm not American, so I don't know why I'm saying gas. I was skeptical at first, however, this is pretty dang good. It's actually really solid, fits very nicely, got it very cheap with a pile of parts, and when my scoop is on, usually I would just pop it here. When I pop it on the boot, it tends to roll off, but I used to pop it on the side panel. Obviously when the scoop's there, there's nowhere to put it. So I am absolutely over the moon. What do you think, Lex?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
It's a cool mod. And yeah, so then I won't forget it, lose it. I can pop it there, twist it back on, and it shouldn't, I don't think, interfere with anything. No, there you go. Super cool little modification there. On to the next one. Now the next one is a made in China. In China. And this is one of my favorite things, a long mirror. The one before that was in the car broke, so we're just gonna pop it up here. And that is so much better. Having a small wing mirror after driving with these big ones, you can't go back. You absolutely can't go back. And Lex will agree.
Yeah, you can, especially in the MR2s, you can see out these rear panels. So when you're driving on the motorway and stuff, it's so much easier.
And now we're going to move on to the next modification. So when I have my steering wheel, my nice carbon steering wheel on, the problem is the steering wheel sits quite far out and the indicator is on the right hand side, and you sort of have to reach past the steering wheel to give any indication. But there is a lovely product from Vertex that goes just on one of these, and I'm so excited to get it on this car. So this is about to go onto the car. I am so excited. As you can see, it goes onto the indicator stalk and is gonna make it so I can actually indicate correctly without any struggle. I am honestly so hyped. You can adjust the angle on these, how far you want them up or down. We just have to insert the sticky pads.
Yeah, so you just put these like one this side, one that side, and then
essentially it doesn't,
it grips on, and then you can add the stickers if you wanted to. There's like two. There's the circle and then there's just a little Vertex one.
I might just leave it as the little bit there, but we'll soon see. So I'm just going to get a screwdriver and get this on. And now I do think it needs some adjustment still, but indication around the steering wheel is going to be so much nicer finally, and I can still get round and do my pop-ups. But to be honest with you guys, that is it for this video. I know it's a short one, it's only a compression test and then a couple of small mods, but I thought I'd just throw them into a video just because this is small things but updates to the cars and what's going on. In one of the next episodes we will be showing one of two things, rather the Accord headliner, or you might have already seen that video, not too sure. I keep putting it off because we haven't found the best fabric for it yet. And in another video coming up is going to be an MR2 clutch. So in one of those videos we're going to be showing the clutch being done. But I hope you've enjoyed this video for now. Any further updates in between, go check out our social medias. And yeah, fingers crossed for the clutch.